there, it's Paige here from the Impact Copywriter in the Sales Funnel Shop. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a simple automated sales sequence to sell your products and programs on autopilot. This is great for digital products and programs at the price point of, anywhere from a few dollars to up to $1,000. So I've seen this work, in that range. And then, above that range, typically you'll see doing more of a sales call style. So you wouldn't be driving to a sales page, you'd be driving to more like an application page or a booking page to where you'd hop on the phone with a sales representative. Here's what we're going to cover in this video. First, we're going to talk about the blueprint and what it looks like from a big picture viewpoint. So how does the funnel flow? Then we're going to move on and walk through a quick example so I can show you what types of elements you need for this automation to work. And then the final part of this video, I'm actually going to walk you through step by step and show you how to build it. All right, let's talk about the blueprint. What does this funnel look like from a big picture perspective? So with an automated sales sequence, most likely we're going to be triggering this internally based on how a subscriber has interacted with your business already. So for example, if they have downloaded a freebie and they've gone through some kind of freebie nurturing campaign, or if they've signed up to watch a masterclass and the next step is for them to go into that sales sequence. So most likely it's going to be triggered by a subscriber finishing some sort of freebie automation, some sort of masterclass or webinar automation. And we're going to, set it up in those automations to trigger the next step, which is this promo sequence for some type of product or digital product or program or course or whatnot, whatever you're selling in your business. Now, once we trigger that automation, it's going to send a series of emails anywhere from about 5 to 12, depending on what you're selling and what you need to say to get people ready to buy. And most often those emails are separated by one day. So day 1, they'll get an email. Day 2, they'll get an email. Day 3, they'll get an email, and so on. Now, the goal of these emails is to send people to the sales page. So each of those emails will have some sort of call to action with a link to your core sales page for that offer, whatever you're offering your audience. Now, of course, once they hit the sales page, they're reading about the product, the problems it solves, the outcomes it delivers, what's included and all that. And they can click a button to go to the checkout page. And then once they complete the checkout process, usually they're directed to some sort of thank you or confirmation page, and they've effectively completed a purchase. They've become a customer. Now, at any point during this automation, from email 2, if they complete the whole process and they become a customer, then we don't want them to get the final emails, because we only want to send as many emails as we need to get them to become a customer. So I'm going to show you how to do that when we jump more into the back end of what the automation requires and what it looks like. So just a note, I have left placeholder emails here in this blueprint for 5 emails. Now, that's not a hard and fast suggestion. The amount of emails that you will need will depend on, of course, the price point of your offer and the types of messages that you need in order to get someone ready to buy. So typically in a sales sequence, you'll see anywhere from 5 to 12 emails, depending on where the subscriber's coming from, what they've already seen, and what they still need the messages they still need to see in order to be ready to buy. So just keep in mind that 5 emails is not a hard and fast suggestion. This is just a placeholder for emails, just to demonstrate that we're going to be sending a series of emails. Now, before we hop into a real example of an automated sales sequence, let's talk about the tools that you'll need. Now, for your emails to be automated, you're going to need an email service provider that supports automation. I personally use and love ActiveCampaign. Then you'll also need a way to create sales pages. So if you're using WordPress, you can do this using a WordPress visual builder, something like Elementor or Divi. And if you're not using WordPress, and it's hard to create sales pages on your site, you can use an external tool, something like Lead Pages or Unbounce. But you will need a way to create some sort of sales page that you can send people to. You'll also need a way to process checkouts. Now, if you're selling courses and you're using something like Teachable, this is built in. If you're using a Shopify store and you have the digital product kind of plug-in for that, then you can use Shopify, of course, because that's built into that platform as well. I'm currently using Samcart, which is a very versatile checkout software, and you can use it, you can add it into your tech stack, and it makes it really easy to use. It also integrates nicely with ActiveCampaign, so I can add people to lists and add tags and such based on how their order is processed. But make sure you have a way for people to check out and purchase your product. Now, your thank you page will likely be built into either whatever you're using for your sales page or whatever you're using for your checkout feature. And that's it. At a minimum, you'll need a way to automate emails, so having an email service provider like ActiveCampaign, a way to create sales pages, and a way to process payments or to set up that checkout process. All right, let's walk through a real life automation that I've set up recently. So it doesn't have a whole lot of people in the automation yet because it's only been live for a few days. So let's talk about what you're going to need, and we're going to make sure that we're really following a simple setup here, because of course when you talk about automation, you could do all sorts of segmenting things, but I always recommend to start out simple and only add complexity as you need it. So the first thing you're going to need for an automated sales sequence are emails, of course. So we have here emails that are going out every other day. And I think in this sequence, this was a really low cost product. So I have, to begin with, in version 1 of this sales sequence, 5 emails. And so you will need emails because that's how you're going to deliver your messages and send people to the sales page. The second thing you're going to need are wait actions. So you can see here, we're waiting for a day, waiting for a day, waiting for a day between all the emails. And you need wait actions because you don't want people getting all the emails at the same time. And so the way an automation works is if there aren't any wait actions, it's going to continue until it's finished. So effectively, if there were no wait actions in this automation, they would get email 1, then email 2, then email 3, email 4, and so on right away. So that's why we add wait actions. The third thing you're going to need is a goal. So you're going to need a way for the automation to know when to stop sending emails if someone converts before they get to email 5. In ActiveCampaign, this is called a goal. So it works like this. Anytime anyone hits some kind of specific parameter, so however you set it up, so they hit some sort of goal that you set for the automation earlier in the automation. So let's say they hit the goal at email 1, ActiveCampaign is going to recognize that they've met the goal, and it's going to pull them to the goal here. So that means if they convert from email 1 or even email 2 here, they're going to move straight to that goal, and they're not going to go through the rest of the automation. They're not going to wait and get email 3 and wait and get email 4 and so on. So that's how in ActiveCampaign we set up goals to pull subscribers who do some action that we're looking for to the end of automations or to other parts of the automation so they don't go through any unnecessary steps. The final piece you'll need is an in this automation tag. So that just tells ActiveCampaign that this automation is complete, and you will be able to reflect that in your contact record. So if you look a subscriber up by their email address, you can kind of see a list of activity of all the things that they've done, that they've interacted with your emails, and you can tell that they have completed an automation. So that's what the in this automation action is useful for. The one thing we don't have, that if you've watched earlier videos that I've recorded that are talking about freebie funnels and building your list, you'll notice we don't have a start trigger. And that is because we're going to trigger this automation from within other automations. So we're going to pick and choose which subscribers get to go through this automation based on other automations they're in. So I'll show you an example of that towards the end of this video. All right, let's build it. I'm in ActiveCampaign. I'm in the automations part of my dashboard, and I have just clicked on create an automation. I'm going to select start from scratch and continue. Remember, we're not going to start with a trigger. So we're going to select start without a trigger and continue. And I'm going to exit out of the next window as well. So the first thing I want you to do when you open up a new or start a new automation and you have your canvas is to name the automation a name that's clear and descriptive. So for my automation, because this is a demo, I'm going to name it Sales Sequence Demo because that's what it represents for me. Notice in the example, I named this Email Newsletter Planner Promo Emails. What's important is that your name is clear and descriptive, so it's easy to understand when you're looking at your backend, looking at your reports, what the automation is for. The first thing we're going to do is add placeholder emails. So under sending options, click and drag send an email. Because this is a new automation, we have to create an email to get started. Just like with the name of the automation, make sure the name of your emails are also clear and descriptive. And when I'm sending a series of emails and there's a specific order, I also like to give them some sort of number tag as well. So you can see here, I'm going to set up placeholder emails that are named Promo 1, Promo 2, Promo 3, Promo 4, and Promo 5. And then when I go back in and I'm clear on the content of those emails, I will add in a little bit extra description after the colon so that I know what the topic of the email is. Once you've named your email, click Create. When you create an email, ActiveCampaign is going to launch kind of the email setup wizard, which is where you'll go in and actually input your content, do the formatting, check the links, set the subject line, and things like that. When I'm first setting up an automation, I first set up the entire automation with placeholder emails. So I skip this step until I'm ready to go back in and add in all the email content at once. And that's just so I can be really focused when I'm putting the email content in, and I can focus on, setting up those emails, checking the formatting, checking for typos, making sure all the proper links are in there, all the actions associated with those links, and I can send test emails and do that all in one focused working session. So for now, we're going to save and exit. But before I go, I want to make sure to remind you to set up your templates when you first start working in ActiveCampaign. So you can set up a template that kind of saves all of the design elements that you're going to use in future emails, and that will save you a lot of time later on so you don't have to keep creating email templates from scratch. All right, let's move on and save and exit. You can see here we have Promo 1 selected. We're going to click Save. All right, now we have our first email placeholder set up, and you can see the email is currently a draft. I'm going to follow the exact same process for emails 2 through 5. Perfect. Now I have 5 draft emails set up. The next step is to add in our wait actions in between each email. So under Conditions and Workflow, you'll find the wait action. Simply click and drag it into the automation. We're going to wait for a specified period of time, and we're going to wait for 1 day. Now I'm going to add wait actions in between all the emails. Now notice I added an extra wait action at the end of the automation, and this is going to go between email 5, so the final email, and our goal, which we're going to set up next. Now the reason I do this is so that there's a bit of a longer period for people to kind of wait at before the automation ends, and that's to give them about 7 days of a chance to finally convert, because sometimes people don't read the emails right away. So it may take them a few days to catch up and decide that, yes, this is the program for them. And so I wanted to give the automation enough time for someone to catch up and read the emails before we decide that they didn't convert and the automation just ends. Also notice that I did not add a wait action at the beginning of the automation, and that's intentional because once we trigger the automation, we want it to start immediately. So if we want to add some wait buffer between the previous automation and this automation, we're actually going to add it in the previous automation, and I'm going to show you what that looks like towards the end of the video. All right, our next step is to set up our goal. So under Conditions and Workflow, you'll find the goal action. Simply click and drag it into the automation. And now we need to set up what determines that a goal has been achieved. So the first thing you want to do is to name the goal something that's clear and descriptive. So most likely you're going to use something like purchased and the name of your program, or purchased and the name of your membership, or whatever it is that this promo sequence is selling. So because this is a demo, I'm going to say purchase X. But you can notice in the example automation that we walked through earlier, I named my goal Purchased Email Newsletter Planner because that is clear and descriptive of what they're purchasing in this sequence. Now that you have a name, you need to set up the conditions that tells ActiveCampaign that this goal has been met. The easiest way to set up a goal is to use a list. So you'll want to create a list specifically for people who have purchased whatever you're selling in this sequence. And then, so once someone joins that list, they have met a goal. That tells this automation that you can pull them out of those like next promo emails. All right, so once someone joins the Students 90-Day Newsletter Planner list, they are a student. So they're a customer and they don't need to get promo emails. So I'm going to select below the contact's position. So when the goal is, below where they are in the automation, so that they're going to jump to that goal. Now, if they don't meet the goal, even after the 7-day buffer period, we're going to choose for the automation to end and save. Now we have our purchase goal set up. Our last step is to add our end this automation action. You can find that also under conditions and workflow. Select in this automation, click and drag it into our automation. And now we have our action that tells ActiveCampaign that a subscriber has completed this automation. Perfect. So now we have all 5 emails set up as draft emails. We have all of our actions added in between each email. We have our last larger wait action, so a period of 7 days added between the last email and the goal to give a bit of a buffer period before this automation decides whether or not it ends or they've met the goal. We have our goal action, which pulls people out of the automation essentially so that they're not getting promo emails after they've already purchased. And we have our final in this automation action. Now remember, we're not starting with a trigger because I'm going to show you how to trigger this automation depending on where people are at other points in your funnel. So your next step really would be to finalize your email content and set up those emails, go through that process in your email wizard. You can do that by editing your email, and it'll launch the wizard where you can select your template and copy and paste your email content and start formatting and adding links and all of that. So you'll want to set up all of your emails and make sure you're testing those emails, that the links work, they go to the right place, that they look proper inside your mobile views and inside a desktop view. Once all of your emails are set up, then all you need to do to make this automation active is click the active button at the top so that people can finally start going through this email automation. All right, now I'm going to show you how you're going to send people into your sales automation from other automations in your funnel. So you can see here I'm in the Instant Email Ideas training delivery automation. So this is a type of freebie funnel automation, and I have a separate video that shows you how to set that up. So you'll notice at the end of this automation, after they've got their delivery email, we're waiting for 1 day, and then I added a bit of segmentation here to say, is this contact or is the subscriber in the students list? So are they already a customer for this product? And if they are, then we're not going to do anything because they don't need to get promo emails if they're already a customer for this specific product. But if they're not in that list, then I'm going to trigger the automation to send them into the promo sequence so that they can learn more about this product, or in this case, this online workshop. So to connect two automations together, you're going to need the start an automation action. And you can find that underneath conditions and workflow, and it's called start an automation. So you simply drag that action into your automation, and you will select the automation that you want to trigger. So all I'm going to do is select that automation and save. So that is how you connect two automations together, and more importantly, that's how you send subscribers who have shown interest in relevant freebies into promo sequences for offers that would be a good fit for them. That's it. That's our simple sell sequence that you can automate so you can sell your digital products and programs on autopilot.